The statuses and situations of LGBTQ people are widely divergent in different social, cultural and legal contexts. In Indonesia, in areas where Islamic law is enforced, such as Aceh province, homosexuality is illegal. Individuals engaging in same-sex relationships face punishment, including public flogging. In other areas of the country, even though it's not a legal offence, it's not widely accepted by society. This group of people faces oppression, but despite the challenges, a collective of LGBTQ individuals has risen up to fight for their identities to be recognised, advocating for equal rights and humane treatment. At night, Jakarta, the capital city of Indonesia, sparkles with lights, traffic and people. Tall figures in tight dresses and high heels roam the dark corners of the city. For locals, this area is known as a place where sex workers await their customers. Engaging in illegal occupations brings numerous hardships. Additionally, being transgender in a Muslim society where acceptance remains very limited, life has its own set of challenges. These difficulties are further compounded for transgender individuals working as prostitutes in Indonesia. A car comes to a stop by the side of the road. A middle-aged transgender woman opens the door and warmly greets another transgender woman. She is Juliana's Retterblaut, but everyone affectionately and respectfully refers to her as Mami Yuli.
It's very beautiful.
Mami Yuli introduces us to Miles, to many an esteemed transgender woman. Some customers pay solely to engage in conversation with her. This transgender woman has worked as a prostitute for 2 years, having held various jobs previously. She faced family rejection and discontinued her studies. Opting for sex work, she earns a better income. Miles tells us that she only accepts high-quality clients, and high-paying customers are often tourists, especially from Arab countries. Not far away, on the edge of the sidewalk, more transgender prostitutes line up, hoping for customers. In the shadows, tight clothes accentuate the shapes of their waists, distinct from those of women. Everyone here is familiar with Mami Yuli. She is akin to a godmother here, having been one of the pioneering transgender women in the area's prostitution scene. She has since, however, retired from the job. Today, Mami Yuli is an activist on behalf of transgender women. She's been chosen by numerous organisations to work at the policy level. Before becoming Mami Yuli, as she's known today, though, she had to overcome many beliefs and prejudices. Born into a Catholic Indonesian family in a predominantly Muslim country, her gentle nature has contrasted with her strong and muscular body since childhood. This led people to perceive her as having a condition that could be cured. Mami Yuli explains that her parents perceived her differently from other boys due to her expression. They believed she had a certain type of disorder. At that time, there wasn't much information about LGBTQ individuals, and they lacked an understanding of what a third gender entailed. Little Yuli grew up uncertain about whether she was a girl or a boy. But one thing is certain, whatever it is, it's not a serious disease that needs to be cured. The turning point in her life was the day she moved from her small hometown to Jakarta. The diversity in the capital made her realise that there are not just two genders, there are three, or perhaps more. Mami Yuli tells us that when she moved to Jakarta, she encountered a Chinese person who identified her as a trans woman. she introduced her to a place where many transgender women gather. This experience opened her eyes to the fact that there are other people like her. Life in the capital is neither beautiful nor comfortable. Despite its diversity, the chaos and prejudices towards transgender people here are no different from those in other cities. Revealing her identity left her with few career options, ultimately leading her to prostitution. Not just for sustenance, but because this is the only place that accepts her for who she is. With over 10 years of experience in sex work, she came to a realization that this was not a career she can pursue indefinitely. The primary limiting factor in sex work is the body. Just like other products, when the quality on offer deteriorates over time, the trade naturally falls away. Yuli decided to redirect her life. She enrolled in university and pursued both her bachelor's and master's degrees in law. Another source of pride for her is being the first transgender woman in Indonesia to graduate in constitutional law. This marks an important milestone for individuals of the third gender, as she became the first transgender woman to wear a graduation gown in accordance with her gender identity in Indonesia. Yuli says that in the end, the university couldn't reject her because it would violate human rights. Initially, everyone was a bit confused because all women wear the hijab. She reassured them, though, that she would dress modestly, and they finally accepted her. Even though Yuli left sex work many years ago, she has never judged or abandoned her peers or those who have followed her.
If you want to see more great content from all over the world, please like the video, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. Thank you.
From the outside, this small house looks like any other ordinary dwelling in this area. Its residents are, however, transgender women whose bodies have aged to the point where they can no longer engage in sex work. They lack skills for other occupations and are either estranged from or unable to rely on their families. Mami Yuli's house is one of the few places in Indonesia where elderly transgender women can find solace in the later stage of life. It is a haven where they can reside with friends of the same gender. It's a small community where they can fully embrace themselves, dress in the way that feels right, free from disgusted glances or disdainful words. The smiles and laughter are confirmation that their spirits remain strong. Eli Elmawati, a transgender woman, says that house rental in Jakarta is very expensive. Living here, however, she doesn't have to pay rent, and being with friends makes her very comfortable. In Indonesia, many transgender people still face discrimination and exclusion. Some endure discrimination from childhood through adulthood and even into old age. Yuli fully comprehends their struggles and recognizes that standing firm and fighting are necessary to achieve their goals. With the legal skills she has gained, her aim is to secure a place for the third gender in a society where the prevailing view considers homosexuality abnormal. In Bahasa Indonesia, the word waria refers to a man born with a mind and spirit resembling that of a woman. The term waria is a fusion of wanita, meaning woman, and pria, meaning man. This term is integrated into the language, evidence of the enduring existence of transgender women in Indonesian society. Reflecting on Indonesian history, transgender women have been acknowledged as community leaders since the 1930s. While Indonesia is the largest Muslim country globally, it is not, however, an Islamic state. Acceptance of gender diversity has been evident in certain regions for quite some time, with the government even having an organisation dedicated to the third gender. Until recently, religion has been wielded as a political tool, turning societal diversity into tension. Anti-LGBTQ sentiment is on the rise and spreading in Indonesia, especially against openly transgender women. The transgender women we met at the house returned to the small park, the area where they once earned their living. They put on makeup, wigs and their best clothes, just as they used to do every night some 30 years ago. This place is filled with memories for them, both sweet and bitter, and they reminisce about the old days. The streetlights illuminate the wrinkles on their faces, marking the passage of time. Dona Ariska, another transgender woman, tells us that she started engaging in prostitution at the age of 25, while searching for her own identity. Her father, a stern soldier, and her mother were strict, making her a rebellious child. It was during this period that she found companionship here. In a society that broadly denies the existence of a third gender, and in which prostitution is illegal, reality conflicts with societal norms. The transgender women say that among the customers there are some individuals of high social status and with respectable jobs. Dona Ariska reveals that most of the customers are government officials, working people, some of whom hold high positions. Some of them are businessmen. But of course, everyone's identity is kept secret. The need to be themselves as transgender, ignored by family and rejected by society, has led them to come together as a group to help, support and care for each other. At her peak, Mami Yuli wasn't the most conventionally attractive person. Her muscular frame, shaped by the nature of testosterone, sometimes failed to attract customers. Often she had to switch roles, from being a sex worker to being a financial caretaker, protecting friends who might be taken advantage of, bullied or assaulted. Mami Yuli tells us that among her friends she doesn't consider herself beautiful and has a more robust and taller physique than the others. There were times when she had to assist her friends to collect money from customers. If anyone encountered problems, they often turned to her for advice. In some instances, she earned money by supporting her friends. Now, her career and status may have changed, but Mami Yuli remains the same person who protects her friends. This protection takes on a different form now, though. In terms of development, she encourages trans women to acquire additional skills, emphasizing that relying solely on their bodies as commodities is not a sustainable path, and that a career in sex work won't last forever. In the context of the rights movement, she strives to broaden society's understanding that a third gender is neither a disease nor an abnormality. Families should embrace and support individuals, ensuring that they receive education and other rights, allowing them to pursue opportunities beyond involvement in prostitution. Mami Yuli explains that prostitution is their last resort when they need to earn a living for survival. Being a prostitute seems preferable to resorting to theft. Now that she has more options due to her education, however, the journey from a life on the streets to a more conventional lifestyle is not an easy one. Within religious and cultural contexts, the demands of LGBTQ groups around the world vary. For this particular collection of transgender women, they recognise that achieving full legal rights, such as same-sex marriage, will be a long and challenging journey in Indonesia. Their primary goal at present is to establish a space in which they can express themselves authentically, without being judged by society as abnormal. The journey for transgender individuals in Indonesia is strewn with numerous obstacles, with social systems and religious beliefs posing the most significant challenges. Despite the rough and arduous path ahead, they have started on their own journey. A courageous and generous transgender woman has taken the lead, inspiring others to walk alongside her in solidarity for all transgender people in Indonesia.